that we're tracking for you from the global markets. But let's now talk about the cues that you should watch as we get into a fresh trading session. Our research team is here with the trade setup and all of the individual stocks that you should have on your radar as well. Ekta, Vahishta and Mangalam all join me now. Guys, a very good morning to all of you. Ekta, coming to you first. Yesterday was definitely a weak session for our own markets, but the global handover is not too bad this morning.
Morning. Well, yes, it seems to be a bit of a flip-flop which is taking place for our markets because, yes, the markets did reverse Monday's gains as IT as well as the financial stocks really slid in yesterday's trading session. So we had the Sensex which fell quite dramatically. We had the Nifty which was down close to 200 odd points. But the positive is that the rupee managed to gain, so it appreciated versus a Monday close of around 82.36. FII's net sellers to the tune of over 2,000 odd crores. DII's net bought close to that level of around 1,800 odd crores. So we have that commitment coming in through from the domestic institutional investors continuously. Now, US Fed statements. Powell did say that the Fed might have to make unpopular decisions to stabilize prices, but it seems as though the overall global markets seem to be unfettered really by Powell's statements because they're probably looking ahead in terms of the eventual trajectory of the Fed. So the US markets ended higher, Asia largely mixed as you mentioned, and SGX indicating a bit of a flat start. Macros to look forward to, we do have the CPI IIP data back home tomorrow, as well as the US inflation data, which will be watched quite closely, not to mention a lot of earnings to reckon with the likes of HCL, Tech, Infosys, Cyient coming out in the next couple of days, as well as the likes of Wipro, Just Dial, HDFC Bank and Avenue Supermarts. So that would be a lot in terms of a cue to reckon with domestically for us.
All right, Ekta, thanks a lot for laying out all of those cues for us. We are going to watch for all of these. But let's also bring Vahishta in, who's looking at all of the individual stocks that you should keep on your radar today. Vahishta, good morning. Take us through the list.
Hi, Pavitra. Good morning. Let me start off with Tata Motors first, wherein Tata Passenger Electric Mobility, which is a wholly owned subsidiary of Tata Motors, has completed the acquisition of Ford India's manufacturing plant, which is located in Sanand in Gujarat. Moving on to Adani Ports. Adani Ports and the CAROT Group have completed the acquisition of Haifa Port from the government of Israel, and the bid was won last year in July 2022 at an offer price of approximately 1.2 billion US dollars, and the concession of period of the port is all the way up to 2054. Adani Wilmar has a Q3 update wherein there's a strong volume growth and market share gains across their product segments. The company has also benefited from a stronger out-of-home consumption in the past quarter, and the packaged oil sales have grown high double digits, though institutional demand for packaged oil was weak and had declined in the quarter. The wheat flour category grew, driven by an increase in their retail outlet reach. Moving on to Narayan Rudalaya, wherein the company has incorporated a wholly owned subsidiary called NH Integrated Care Private Limited, and the last is defense stocks, which are expected to be in focus today. The Defense Acquisition Council has approved the acceptance of necessity for 3 capital acquisition proposals of approximately 4,300 crores, and the 3 proposals include 2 of the Indian Army and 1 of the Indian Navy, which includes the procurement of Helena tank guided missiles, launchers and other products, and the likely beneficiaries are going to be Bharat Dynamics, Bharat Electronics, Astra Microwave Products and Data Patterns.
All right, Vahishta, thanks a lot for bringing us that entire list. We will keep all of these stocks on our radar. Finally, it's over to Mangalam, who's looking at all of the cues from the futures and options space. Hi, Mangalam.
Good morning. So we've been yo-yoing around in the markets over the last couple of trading sessions. If you just take a look at it, on Friday, the Nifty fell about 130 odd points. Then on Monday, we saw a move on the upside of around 240 points. And yesterday, we all but gave up those gains. So 187-point decline is what we saw. And this coincides with the kind of FII selling that we've seen. On Friday, the FII sold close to around 2,900 crores. Then on Monday, it compressed to around 200 odd crores. And now yesterday, it was back above that 2,100 crores. In fact, in January itself, so far, the FII selling has crossed 10,000 crores, 10,125 odd crores is what they've sold. Not just in, cash markets, they've sold around 2,500 crores in index futures as well. And in yesterday's trading session, they added 27,000 long contracts and rather 27,000 short contracts and just about 170 long odd contracts. But, it's interesting that on the day the FIs add longs, they don't get a follow-through. The day they add shorts, they don't get a follow-through. Because on Jan 6, we saw 41% long exposure for the FIIs, 49% on Jan 9th. Yesterday, on Jan 9th, we saw a big up move. And yesterday, after the markets declined, the FIIs are back to around 41% long exposure. They've been selling calls, lock, stock and barrel. In fact, in yesterday's trading session, we saw the FIIs sell 1.17 lakh short calls. So that's telling you that every up move is likely to face some sort of congestion. Where are those calls sold? Just take a look at 18,000, 17,900 and 18,100. Between all three options, they've added 1.6 crore short contracts, telling you that levels upwards of 18,050 is likely to face some sort of resistance. Put writers have covered their positions at the 18,000 level. The Nifty is at a crucial point because the put-call ratio is at 0.71. Usually we see a bounce from these levels, and the Nifty is at the 100-day moving average of 17,906. Let's see whether we revisit December lows or we go all the way up to earlier levels of 18,000 plus. The SGX Nifty is indicating that it's a positive start. The question is whether this sustains or not.
All right, let's wait by and see whether this positive start sustains or not. Mangalam, Ekta, Varishta, thank you very much for joining us and prepping us up for this trading session. With that, it's time for the first short break on this show. But up next, like we told you, sources say that OMCs are hoping for 50,000 crore rupees in cash compensation from the government on fuel marketing losses. So all of the details on that important story when we come back.